one day I was at school and I started imitating Speedy Gonzalez. And I was like, and I was really good at it. And the guy who was the bully from the class, he said, like, I saw that. And I was like, no, do it again. And I was like, no. He said, do it again or I'll beat you up. And I was like, Speedy Gonzalez, and during breaks, he will take me to these other guys, hired.
You became his muse. You became the bully's muse.
I was his clown. I was his freaking clown. Yeah. And the guy said to me, do Speedy Gonzalez. This guy does great Speedy Gonzalez. And I was like, yeah. And one time I was like, oh, man. He's like, do it or we're going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And then one day he was like, I got bored of Speedy Gonzalez. Just mix it with something else.
That's so funny. He was like, instead of like, give me your lunch money, he's like, come up with some new voices, man.
I need some new material.
Yeah.
You got bullied into being a talented actor.
Welcome to Standby with JJ and Francisco. He's JJ.
I
say JJ first. Yeah, man, it's fun because we have another amazing guest today. This guy's a good friend of mine. He's actually from Venezuela, where I was born, but he's actually like more Venezuelan.
Yes.
Because he was like, he just like came here like, I guess like 5 years ago, I believe.
Does that happen? Do you guys do top trumps? Like who's more
No,
Venezuelan?
it's obvious that he is. He's way,
yeah.
Well, let's introduce him. His name is Guillermo Garcia. He's an actor, and now he started doing stand-up. We'll also tell this story as well. But like, he's you know him right now from Mayans M.C. He's playing right now on the new season of Mayans. He plays El Banquero, which is like one of a narco bad guy, and he also has been in a lot of great movies in Latin America and Venezuela. There's one called My Straight Son, which won some awards in Spain, right? I believe so.
Yeah, this is called the Goya Award.
The Goya Award. Yeah.
The Goya Award is really important.
But it's
here.
not
Goya is like a can of beans.
Yeah, not the.
I've bought a tin of those.
No.
I have a few awards of my own. They taste delicious.
Awesome. No, Goya is from Spain, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of like
really important. It's like huge, man.
like the Oscars of Spain.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, is Goya? Is it a name? Is it a famous name that's not just associated with beans?
It's a famous painter, actually.
Is a famous painter
Yeah.
who also loved beans. As far as idiots like me are concerned.
But yeah, so welcome to the podcast, and so we I mean, I kind of know a lot about you, so if you want to ask the questions, and I kind of like, because it's a great story to how we met, because he's his main profession, you've always been acting since like the beginning. He's an actor, and
right.
like
I do have my first question.
All right,
then, which would be, as an actor coming up in Venezuela, did you have America, like when you're a Venezuelan actor, is America on your, like in your target zone, or are you just like, I'm going to be a Venezuelan actor?
No,
Hollywood,
yeah. Hollywood is like, it's like, I always say it's like you're a baseball player, right? And you can enjoy, playing at your league and back home, because we have a really amazing baseball players, right? But you always want to play for the Yankees.
Right, okay.
Like,
in the major leagues,
major leagues, and actually, like the Yankees, the team is like, I don't know.
No, I hate the Yankees. That's why I fuck the Yankees.
Oh yeah, that's why
I'm an Orioles. Fuck
like,
the Yankees.
In the U.S.
Yeah, the major leagues.
Yeah,
but everybody says the Yankees, New York Yankees.
Nah, fuck the Yankees.
No. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I'm an underdog guy too. New York Mets. I don't like Manchester United for the same reason. Everybody always, and then the New York Yankees. I like the underdog.
You're rebels. Okay,
but we get it. We get that. That metaphor. So, because are there like, just like there's comedians in Britain, I know comedians in Britain who I started out with who are just anti-America. Like I'd never go to America. Never. And then like I forgot about it for a while. I was a good 15 years into my career before I started going, hey, maybe I should go to the place where my accent is more familiar. And go to
But
America.
It's also different when you're like when you're from Britain, where you're like also part of a first world country, And then, like, when you're part of a third world country, you're like,
you just want to get the fuck
like,
out.
You want to get, I mean, you're like, I want to go there, or like, like.
Okay, that's a good point. So there's also a standard of living.
Let me break it down to you. Like, if I did here, if I do here what I used to do there, what I did there, I will have a fucking island. Really, it was like, the salaries are very different. It's very, but also I do have to say, like, for me, I would love to work in Argentina as well. Argentina has the best movies of Latin America.
Yeah.
I actually studied in Argentina acting. So I went to Argentina. I worked in Colombia. And for me, I do got to say that I appreciate so much to have worked there and all my journey through these countries because we don't have budget there. So there's a lot of mystic. There's a lot of rehearsal. There's a lot of collaboration. So the director is like, hey, man, can we hang out and talk about the scene that we need to do tomorrow? And then it's like there's a lot of, people working together and the tone is the same. So everybody here is very different. Here's like everybody's doing their own thing.
Okay.
So you have like big budgets and you have like big productions, but everybody's like, okay, yeah, we can do this like 100 times. So we can make mistakes back home. I remember my first movie, the director called me and said, like, it was those cameras, the film cameras.
Yeah.
They have like that sound, right? And he will say to me, hey, don't make a mistake, because when you hear that machine going, that's money coming out of my pocket.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
And by the way,
no time to fart around and like, and break character for the outtakes.
And by the way, that was a porn that he was shooting. So like, he's like, you better not come right now, motherfucker.
Every second matters even more.
Come on, man.
This is your money on the money shot.
We're out of tape.
But so did you? So you always wanted to act since you were little, like
totally, man.
Since you began, like since you were like a little kid, that was your thing.
As a little kid, I wanted to be, I wanted to be an actor, and I did a lot of like poetry. So I will say.
So
poetry.
you were sensitive.
Yeah, very sensitive.
He got beat up for that. No, I'm kidding.
I got bullied a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the truth. Wow. Funny thing. I used to do dubbing in Spanish, and that's I know you know the story. But I used to do dubbing in Spanish for cartoons, like the Green Lantern for the Justice League. I did it for Latin America. So when I was a kid, I was so shy that I would do voices. I was all alone all the time, right? And I studied at school of the Opus Dei.
Hey, that isolation makes you get good at those things.
Yeah, totally, yeah. It's like you have to be a weird in order to get some talent out of that.
Yeah.
And then one day I was at school and I started imitating Speedy Gonzalez. And I was like, and I was really good at it. And the whole class was laughing. But I looked like Forrest Gump, so nobody will suspect that it was me. And the guy.
Wait, what do you mean you look like Forrest Gump?
I was like very naive guy. I wasn't like gonna pull something that I was not gonna make jokes about it. I was very like.
Yeah, you didn't have confidence from your popularity or anything like that.
Totally.
So you were making the voices like nobody knew who was you?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody will knew it was me.
Oh,
yeah,
got it.
So everybody will laugh, and I will be like, yeah. And the guy who was the bully from the class, he said, like, I saw that. And I was like, no, do it again. And I was like, no. He said, do it again or I'll beat you up. And I was like, yeah. And during breaks, he will take me to these other guys, hired.
You became his muse. You became the bully's muse.
I was his clown. I was his freaking clown. Yeah. And the guy said to me, do Speedy Gonzalez. This guy does great Speedy Gonzalez. And I was like, yeah. And one time I was like, oh, man. He's like, do it or we're going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And then one day he was like, I got bored of Speedy Gonzalez. Just mix it with something else.
That's so funny. He was like, instead of like, give me your lunch money, he's like, come up with some new voices, man.
I need some new material.
Yeah.
You got bullied into being a talented actor.
He used to kick my ass.
Maybe
take my
that's
lunch.
actually your first manager. That was your first talent agent. He's like, come on, man. Everybody's got. Hey, we got we got to come up with this something to Speedy Gonzalez. It's been 2 weeks. Keep doing the same shit. People are getting dire of it. Come on. You got something else? You got Fred Flintstone? Come on.
Yeah, that was pretty much how we did it.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
So, and that's So that was your first foray, was the cartoons then?
I was doing theater though. I started doing theater. I majored in theater and journalism because back home, like, I mean, in Venezuela, and you know this, Francisco, like, your mom is like, you want to be a rapper? Okay, great. But have a degree in something else.
Yeah, you need to have something.
Yeah, study something. Give me a freaking degree from college.
Yeah.
And so I started journalism and theater at the same time.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
And then you started, so you've been acting all your life pretty much.
Yeah.
And then, and then this whole thing with a stand-up, like, why did you decide to start even looking?
Because I wanted it from the very beginning, but it was like in Venezuela, stand-up is not. It was not, especially back then.
So were you like stand-up before in Venice? Like, were you?
Oh man, I was a huge fan of Jerry Seinfeld, and when Seinfeld came and George Lopez, I was Chris Rock. It was, but I was so scared, and I will always dream like, oh my God, I want to do that at one point in my life. Mm-hmm. And then I came here to LA, and I was like, acting wasn't like going anywhere. And I was getting depressed. I was like, started working like at a pizzeria, doing Uber, doing like this.
Well, to be fair, every time he got an audition, he would go to the audition and he'd be like, "Ándale, ándale, ándale." And they're like, why are you doing this, sir?
Ándale,
like,
pepperoni pizza.
That's all like.
Well, yeah, and this also brings me back to my original question, which was, you weren't involved, you just went for it. You came here on a whim. You didn't come here with a job already.
No, man. I came here, but I already was doing great back then. And then it happened, the movie with the Goya, it happened. I was doing a TV show in Colombia, and it was like I was making good money and all that, and all of a sudden, like, started dating this actress. She was filming something here, and she's like, "Hey, why don't you come to LA?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, like I've never been to LA, so
women, they always do it. Why don't you just come to where I live?" Okay,
exactly. Then it's like, and then long story short, I was like, I lost all my money because I was like doing Airbnb. I'm like, Tarantino's gonna discover me because I was doing like film festivals. Oh no, you know who's gonna discover me? And it didn't happen at all, dude. And everything.
Wait, how long did you do that for? To lose, or like to have, like,
well, it
of
takes
the
a lot of
Airbnbs?
money. What people don't know is like, you have to spend a lot of money to be legal in this country and to work as an actor.
Well,
you know this.
He's Canadian.
So. Yeah, I'm on a visa as well. Yeah. So yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, you know that, and it's like it's $7,000 the O1, and then the green card is like $14,000, and you're like putting more money, and when you get the visa O1, I don't know if this happens to you. You go to networks and they're like, "Oh, we don't work with visa."
Yeah, it has to be our visa one. We have to sponsor it, right? That happened.
No, they say no because in case, like, if you go to MVC right now, right, and say like, "Oh, we love you, man. You're amazing and great. But what's your status?" And you're like, "I have an O1." It's like, no, our contract is for 7 years. Your O1 expires in 2 years. Yeah. So there's a lot of actors. I know so many actors, man, that they have lost the opportunity, to book something like a series regular or something because of their status.
Mm. Yeah, I lost something when I was first here because my own buddy was.
Oh yeah.
I got an acting job with a Disney show. Uh-huh. And I stupidly said, when I was just hanging out and chatting, and then I started talking about Canada, they didn't realize I was from Canada or anything. I had this role as a bouncer on a kid's show, and then I was like, "Yeah, I'm in Canada," and then they're like, "Oh, are you Canadian?" And then about an hour later, they asked me to come to the office. They're like, "Hey, how are you working here?" And I was like, "Oh, I got my O1 visa. I thought everything would be fine." And then they went, "Oh no, we don't work with O1 visas." And I'm like, "I thought that meant, I thought that means we're okay," and it doesn't. It
doesn't work. It doesn't work. Till today, people are like, "We don't work with O1."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they say that, like, the breakdowns. It's like, you see, you got that question. Our question is, people look at Francisco and me. It's like, you have a social security number?
No, they don't. They never ask me that.
He's not the Latino.
What are you talking about? I just gotta book this shit.
You're okay. But I tell you what, you did remind me of though too. Like before I was even a comedian, when I went to Edinburgh, when I first went to Scotland, I had saved up like a little less than $1,000, like Canadian, and to go on my adventure. and I got a taxi from the airport when I landed in Edinburgh into the city, and it just chewed through like 1/10 of my budget. I thought I had enough going by Canadian standards. So I'm just showing up in Britain at the height of the value of their pound as well. I just showed up in Edinburgh, just shell shocked, going, I am not gonna last 3 days in this country. Holy
so what'd you do?
Shit. I got my shit together. I got a job.
You got a job there?
Oh, really?
Yeah. First thing I spent money on was doing resumes.
Were you a stripper there? Were you a stripper in Scotland?
Well, the lucky thing is that British people are terrible at customer service because the class system and stuff. So British people aren't good at that. And that's why Canadians and Australians are all in the bars in Britain. If you're out in Britain, you'll notice Canadians and Australians behind the bar all the time because we're just kind of more polite. We're Commonwealth.
You guys are too nice. Yes.
We're probably too nice, but we're nice, but we're perfect nice for British for the British bar and restaurant scene. So I managed to get a job after about 4 days. When I was down to my last $100, got the job, and then that was what allowed me to stay in Britain. But that shell shock of oh God, this is not. This is not going to be financially viable.
So your first big move was to the U.S., I guess. Well, I mean, you lived in Colombia, right? And
Venezuela. I lived there, but here I was like, okay, let me see what this is all about. And then it's finding agents, finding managers. It's insane. It's another game.
Which is crazy because it's you're well established in Latin America, but it doesn't mean anything.
But for me, it helped me that I had 2 movies in a New York Film Festival, and this manager, she approached to me, and we have this discussion. And she was really, really, really big manager here, and I loved New York so much, and that I was like, oh, so I'm gonna be here. And she's like, no, if you want to do movies and TV shows, you gotta go to LA. And she told me you have to move to LA, and that's how I started. And then you start the legal thing, waiting for the freaking visa one, and then you have to change for the other one because it's people will have a hard time for that.
Yeah. It's not that bad, LA over New York. It's not that bad.
No. But the thing is, I'm a theater guy. I love theater. I love really not musicals. I don't like musicals.
Right.
They're too long. Everything's like opera. Opera is about the same thing all the time, and I don't. It's for too long. But but theater, it's amazing. And in New York, you can watch a really nice play for $10.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the town.
Yeah, exactly.
In the U.S. for theater.
And for stand-up.
And for stand-up too.
For stand-up.
I mean, to do stand-up, you do definitely get much better in New York. I do, even though I. From here, live here, definitely it's much, but you get more opportunities. There's more opportunities to do stand up, but more so you get definitely more the reps.
There's more shows as well.
More shows, more everything, So
what about the audience? Because I never done stand up in
it's actually better too because they're so well versed in stand up, they're good stand up, so they know what's good or bad.
But they're not skeptical. They're like, make me laugh.
No, but they're you gotta be good.
Oh, okay.
You can't, because they know what's good and what's not. If you do hacky stuff or very they'd be like, yeah, no, you gotta be real kind of stuff. So yeah, you do have to kind of bring your A game all the time.
There's a lot less here in LA. I was trying to explain to some friends here in LA. I mean, I love performing stand up anywhere, but on a bill here in LA, a lot of times 30% of the performers are stand-ups, and the other 70% is made up of a radio presenter, an actress, somebody who works at a car showroom who wants to get more courage and all this. You're like, what is this variety of? So that's why I know that's what an LA comedy show is, or it can be.
It's very eclectic. It's very eclectic. It's man, for me, I want to do it right. I want it to be. I was like, if I'm gonna do stand up, I gotta make it work, and I gotta be.
Which is why he reached out to me.
Yeah,
right.
He wanted to do it right. So
the ego.
You gotta come to the big guns. You gotta go to the big guns here.
He actually did reach out to me. He slid into my DMs.
Yeah,
but he was like, hey, I'm in Venezuela, I'm an actor, but I want to start doing stand-up. You're the best of the best. So
Is that the direct translation? It was written in Spanish,
It was
right?
written in Spanish, yes.
And
Like,
that's,
hey,
that's
man.
what it translates.
Well, he was mostly like, arriba, ándale, ándale. I was like, what? But no, but he'd reach out, and then we met, and then yeah, we met, and it's funny because it's kind of like a little bit like how I met. Well, no. I mean, yours was different, but it's something where like I also met you through to watch you perform and stuff like that. But I met him at a coffee shop, kind of like and we started talking.
Yeah, and he was like, "So listen, what do you want? You want to do stand up stuff?" And it's like, "You're another actor in LA from Venezuela," and I was like, "Chill, man." Like,
I wasn't like that.
Yeah, he was like,
He's
"Hey,
trying to break you down."
busy. You know him.
He knows you're on the Mayans, so he's like, "I gotta come in."
Back then I wasn't.
He wasn't the Mayans.
Oh, right.
Then I wasn't.
Well,
the
before.
pizzeria.
Well, I did grab him and be like, "Hey, do a Speedy Gonzalez right now. I'm gonna beat you up. Come on."
You better not be coming back in here with that Speedy Gonzalez shit. That's getting tired already.
Yeah. Now go buy me a muffin.
This is fantastic. How many gigs you got under your belt now?
Oh, I haven't counted them, but it's like
But how long have you done it for now? Like, since
I started like a year before the pandemic, like maybe a year and a half before the pandemic.
So you're 3 years in. So you're still a baby.
Yeah, I mean,
stand-up baby.
Yeah. And for me, it's the scariest thing you could ever do. Like, I have done theater, I have done movies, I did telenovelas, and this is like, there's nothing like stand-up, because I always say with movies, even with a show, like I'm doing a show right now, and I'm like, I'm not crazy about the editing, how they do that, and it's like, and I can blame that, and sometimes I can blame the script, and sometimes I can blame the director. Here it's like, it's
you. It's 100%.
Yeah,
you're the everything. You're the editor. You're the director. You're the producer.
But that's also what I love about stand-up, that you control everything. If you want to do a voice, just freaking do a voice. If I want to do Speedy Gonzalez, I go with Speedy Gonzalez. If I don't want to say something, I just don't say it.
Yeah.
But like when you do,
I mean, you do have to say stuff. I mean, you can't just
it can be a mime.
But if he doesn't want to,
What about if I'm Marcel Marceau?
Sometimes I just stand there. Yeah.
Such a bully, this guy, eh? But yeah, it's like that. So for me, I was like, oh, I got to do it right, because Venezuelan humor in some of Latin American countries, they're like, we laugh about everything, and pretty much we don't have like this snowflakes or people like they have to walk on shells and say like, oh, that's offensive. No, like in Venezuela, it's like, let's say in Venezuela, if you're Asian, your name is Chino. And it doesn't matter if you're Korean, Vietnamese, Philippine. It doesn't matter. Your name is Chino. And you will introduce yourself like, hey, I'm Guillermo Chino. And they're like, oh, that's...
Okay. Yeah.
We don't have like those kind of problems, We have other kind of problems.
Yeah, you have enough real world problems.
Exactly.
Instead of getting like caught up in,
so it's like, I gotta tell people like, listen, if you don't burn my house, you can call me whatever whatever that you want.
Yeah.
So I started doing taking classes at Second City, and then I found this guy, Kerry Otis. He has a stand-up workshop, and I did like 2 seminars with him, and so that's how I started, because I was like, I want to make this right, and I don't want to fuck it up, because if you say the wrong word, that's it, you're done.
Yeah.
If you get recorded and people just post that, you're like, eh.
Yeah. It's a funny little era that we're in, isn't it? I hope that it's loosening up a little bit.
It's not at all.
You
think so?
Feel so? I do feel. I feel a little bit less risk sometimes of, when somebody's offended at something you did.
People are getting tackled here, man. People are getting like.
Oh yeah, I've had some very worked up people, but I guess I feel less threatened by them than I did a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I just do. Yeah, it feels less consequential to me anyway. Yeah. But who knows? It's always.
But I do feel it's addictive. Like, it's something that I enjoy so much, and I get this like, whenever I make people laugh, and I'm like, oh my god, they look the opposite that I look. Like, they've been like, their upbringing is so different from mine. Because sometimes you get used to like making your family laugh or your friends, right? But when you see like a complete stranger in a different language and they're freaking laughing loud, it's like a rush that nobody gives you something similar. Right?
That's what I love too. I think that's what we all love.
Yeah, that's the adrenaline, the drug into it.
Am I explaining to you stand up right now?
I mean, yes, I don't know why.
That is what outweighs.
We both know
that is what outweighs the one or two people who get offended is the body of people. Look, they all liked it.
Yeah.
So then you so your first big move was here, but out of all the places that you lived, what's the favorite place that you have traveled to or that you lived in?
Argentina is pretty awesome.
Argentina
is pretty and it's so like the culture in Argentina is insane. They have I find that the best comedians like they do stand up in Latin America are from Argentina as well. Because they have the film industry is huge. The theater, Buenos Aires has 300 theaters.
Right.
Just Buenos Aires. So you can go from Monday to Monday and
play. It's like New York.
Yeah. It's insane.
I've got some stupid questions coming. Can I ask some stupid Canadian...
Argentina is a country?
Can I ask some stupid Canadian European Union?
Do.
So as I was based in Britain for like 15 years of my stand-up career. European Union. They've left the European Union now. I left Britain.
Brexit.
I left Britain. Yeah, they Brexited as I Brexited and came here to America. Okay. So I haven't... Yeah, so I escaped at the right time. But anyway, I for those 15 years, I could work in Sweden. I can work... in Holland,
like nothing. You can just travel
with my European Union.
Yeah.
Does it work that way? If this is a stupid question, I'm sorry.
It's not a stupid question.
But can you just freely go and work?
I don't know. That's a thing.
In Argentina.
Now it's easier than having like a working visa here, like a visa to work here. It's because like you can, let's say. I did a show in Colombia, and it took me like a month to get the papers, but I was like the producers they took care of that. But it's in Argentina for humanitarian reasons, because Venezuela is a freaking mess right now.
Yeah.
The president said, you know what, like if you're Venezuelan and you are a doctor, you can work here as a doctor. So there's
so you do have a bit of
because you have the sympathy of other countries that they're like, okay, Venezuela's in a turmoil, like it's living a humanitarian crisis.
But they're like, hey, like what
neighbors?
Do you do?
Yeah.
I do Speedy Gonzalez. Fucking get a visa. Give me a visa. Back in the line.
Go to
Speedy Gonzalez.
Go to Bolivia. It's not Argentina. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's
it's good,
pretty good.
Yeah, it's good, but it's hard. It's hard to work there. It's like, for instance, like countries like Argentina, they have so many actors and so many comedians that when I was studying there, they couldn't believe I was making a living as an actor, because they're like, there's so many actors there and they're really good. But it's like there's like a minority that actually can make a good living out of it.
Yeah,
it's the same as Spain.
So it's kind of like LA with stand-up.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like just a minority makes the real money. Everybody's like, I'll do your show for $20. I actually need those $20.
But funny thing, this entertainment industry, isn't it? It's
it's hilarious.
Turns out it's pretty hard to make a living.
Yeah,
it's tough, dude. It's tough.
And so going back to Venezuela, because you're from Venezuela, but you're from a small town, not small town, like
it's small,
like not the capital. I mean, because it's like
because he's from the capital.
Yeah, well, the Venezuela is like it's a funny country because it's like
I like this. Who's more? Here's a game. Everybody at home are playing. Who's more Venezuelan?
Well, he is, but like. No, but like I don't know if this is like in Canada. Like in Canada, the capital. What's the capital of Canada?
What's the capital?
Ottawa. So Ottawa. Do people? I don't feel that because I know more Toronto than Ottawa. But like,
a lot of people think Toronto is the capital.
Yeah. But like, do people like from Ottawa feel that they're better than everybody in Canada?
No, that would be Toronto.
That would be Toronto. Okay.
Or Montreal, right?
Or Montreal is a bigger. There's bigger cities, but like
our major cities are pretty proud of themselves. Yeah, Calgary, Vancouver, Montreal, and Toronto.
But but in Venezuela, it's weird because it's like other big cities in Venezuela are not as popular as they should be, like compared to the cap. Like even Colombia, like there's,
you have
that's
Medellin,
different.
you have Bogotá,
But in Venezuela, it's weird. Like people from Caracas, which is the capital, they feel that they're better than.
They feel that they're way better than the people from
than everybody else in
That is kind of our case with Toronto. I would say Toronto is our people. And the rest of Canada looks at Toronto that way too.
Got it.
The term Schadenfreude, or like wishing he's wishing harm or whatever. But I'd say the rest of Canada, like in hockey, for example, the Toronto Maple Leafs are
like the Yankees.
When they get called Canada's team, there's a lot of Canada that just goes, "Oh, fuck off, fuck off. We have our own teams. We've got six other teams here. Why does Toronto and like I hear it here too? Like the Yankees, and in football when they call the
Cowboys,
the America's team. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, oh, I bet you a lot of America wants them to fuck right off.
Exactly
with that. And, So yes, so I understand what you're.
So like growing up over there, like because you always traveling to Caracas, like were there any like like it could be like family travels or just travel when you were older, like that something that
I didn't
that
go
was
to Caracas that much, like because it's too crowded. Traffic was terrible, and it was like it was that vibe. It's that the people from Caracas they were like, oh, I'm better than you.
Yeah. That vibe is mostly in our own heads, though, right?
No. But if you ask every Venezuelan, they'll say
we are better. Yeah, right.
Yes. If how you translate this, Venezuelans from Caracas, they say Caracas es Caracas y lo demás es Monte Culebra.
Yeah, so basically it's like saying like Caracas is Caracas, the city, and then everything else is just jungle and snakes.
And snakes.
That's kind of
like they will say that. Yeah, they will say that to you.
Wow, that's
like, hey.
So growing up, did you when you had family vacation stuff like that? Did you have to kill any snakes and go through the jungle?
Man, every day.
No, but do you have any stories or like?
You have to hustle more. If you're from Barquisimeto, like, because TV wasn't there for us.
Yeah, of course.
If you were born and raised in Caracas, you can audition for TV shows.
Right there.
Well,
it's kind of like here in the U.S. where like somebody from Omaha. It's like, well, I gotta go to a big city to do, something.
Right.
Exactly. So for me, it was just theater. The only thing I could do, and that's what I did. But it's like, other than that, I was like, I did theater in my hometown, but it was like nothing. It was very.
But my question that you keep not trying to answer. No, I'm just saying, like,
it's because you're from Caracas.
Now you see. It's like, hey, listen.
I'll do it on my own time, there, big city boy.
No, like, is there any particular like family trips that you remember that were like something funny happened or something crazy happened, or like a trip with your family or just by yourself, like that you had to in your car or like in a plane in Venezuela,
like to Caracas.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be like.
How big is your family?
My family is big. It's very big. I have two sisters, and I have like a lot of cousins. They're girls. There was just girls.
So
I was the only boy. I was the only boy at my family. I had like one cousin. He was a boy, and he had a mustache when he was like 12 years old. He wouldn't play with kids. He was very very mature. He was very into
because of the mustache.
He was very like I don't play with kids. He was older than me.
But he was 12.
He was 12.
How old were you?
I was like 8 or something.
Oh, got it.
But the whole I was always surrounded by women. So that's pretty much. But there was a lot of them. So yeah.
So did you do family holidays growing up? Did you
go
traveling as a family?
Yeah, totally.
All right. So anything that you remember that was crazy, that funny?
Oh, we did so many things. We used to go. And I remember we used to go a lot.
Maybe you should have asked the question because he answered it right. He's answering it right away.
What's that?
What?
Like, I think he finally understood.
Yeah.
I've been trying to ask him this question, and you're like,
I broke it down for
you finally.
Turns out
maybe he wasn't understanding me.
We got two guys from Venezuela here, and I'm the one translating between them.
That's funny.
So what do you remember? You were saying.
So I remember we used to go to my uncle's farm.
Okay. You say farm.
And I love that.
Because it's from the again.
Yeah.
But it was far away. It was not in the small
I know.
It was another one.
I know.
But it was, and we used to go and it was fun because we get to like ride horses and my uncle one day, like he was doing with the axe. With an axe, he was trying to make a fire.
Right. Yeah.
And he cut his toe.
He cut his toe?
He cut his toe, like really, really bad. And my parents, my uncles, they drink a lot. Like they drink a lot. And
that's why he cut his toe. I mean, of course, he was fucking drunk. And
I swear to God,
don't drink an axe.
And I swear to God, my other uncle, he didn't want to go because like a hospital or whatever, it was very, very far away. And he did, don't worry about it. We're going to put some coffee and we're going to like with a knife, he put the knife like right up where the fire is. Whoa. I swear to God.
Oh.
They were so drunk that they seal actually, the thing when he gets
with coffee?
Got, like pretty bad.
Why coffee?
This is culture. Like if
this
you
is very Rambo.
Coffee will stop you from bleeding.
Really?
Yeah, that's a fact. Google this shit. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Very interesting. I mean,
so you will have like that uncle. I love that guy.
So what? He lost his toe?
Like half of it. It was not like complete. Like,
oh God, I got it.
It was like
he was bleeding.
Please tell me it became a nickname. Is he like Toeless Joe or something?
I wish, but yeah.
So he's fine.
Of course, yeah, he's fine. He's fine. But
it's just like, typical. It's just...
But I just love like the dynamic of of them because they were like, they're so playful. They drink a lot, dude. They're like they love to have like a good time. So my uncle, he will drink like 2 days in a row and he wouldn't eat anything, and we'll say like.
So he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I think that's the thing about like in Venezuela and Latin country. I think it's like. There's a lot of alcoholics, and then that they're like, no, we just drink. It's like, no, you got a problem. Like
you know what? Yeah, exactly. But it happens a lot that they work during the week so much, and then weekends come, and they're like,
yeah.
I drink the whole freaking weekend.
Yeah.
And he will be in his farm, and we will be like gathering and talking. He will be like I think I became an actor because of him. Because he's such a funny guy.
Yeah.
And he's hilarious. And he's like everybody. And he will be drinking, man. And he will be like right where he was at.
He will do what?
Like pee. He will pee.
What?
He will pee. And then my aunt
I love
will
how you're
come.
like, and he's so funny.
And then my aunt will come. Because he will be like outdoors. He will be like outdoors. And then
you're
my
the
aunt
sweetest
will...
man. He's raised amongst women, and he just thinks that when his drunken uncle pisses himself, he's just being funny again.
Wait a second. So so he's just like standing there. Like, is this like?
He will do it on purpose. He will do it totally on purpose.
But is it like Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born, where he's just like getting
not
peeing on his pants?
No, he was not trying to hold that back at all.
But don't he take out his dick?
Like at the patio. No. No.
Wait, so he just pees his pants?
Yeah, he pees his pants, and then my aunt, it will be something that they'll do all the time, So they will be
what?
Then my aunt will
You see
come.
what people that are not from Caracas, they're fucking animals, fucking peeing, and like nobody does anything.
I loved whenever that happened. I was a kid.
I can picture your family members thinking that I know people like this,
dude. When you see like my aunt's reaction. Like his wife's reaction, that was hilarious. She will go, "Oh, Argenis, otra vez," and they would say like the water hose, and they will be like, and she will be like really mean to him, even like trying to clean the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious, and I was like 9 years old.
Yeah.
That was the best, dude.
Yeah.
It was like
no wonder you got beat up.
Please tell me he was able to go get changed.
No, he will keep.
At the end of the night.
He will keep drinking.
What's he up to now?
They didn't have bathrooms in the farm? Like, why don't he just go to the bathroom?
He didn't want to. He says the
thing is, it's outside. You can even go behind a tree.
I find that people they're funny and they know they're really funny because my uncle, he's still like the life of the party. Like he will, like it will be something that. If he comes, like, and you see him like through the door, you will be smiling. You're like, "Oh shit, he's coming!" That you will be excited.
Yeah, no, I would.
Might not want him to hug you.
He will come like we will go to like a birthday party, and he will be like an old lady, like let's say like 90 years old. And she's like, "Cheers, we gotta cheers because I think she's gonna die tomorrow." And people will like, it will be like that,
Wow, you got to be a certain kind of person to be able to pull off that line too. She's gonna die tomorrow.
Yeah.
So tonight we party and piss our pants eventually.
And he will say goodbye. And she'll say, "Please don't die, please don't die," and people will laugh at.
Wow. I mean, I understand all that. I just don't get the whole peeing stuff without not moving and just. in his pants.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's if you do it if you do it with kids and all that, you're in a farm, it's hilarious, dude. And I think he was doing it for that too. It's like it's something that you're like.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that you raise kids to be like, don't pee your pants, go to the bathroom. You're giving the wrong end.
Oh no,
Yeah, that's a good point. If there's some kids who saw that,
they're like,
and he's the funny uncle,
and
then they see that, and then they go to school the next week, and they're like, wait until I hit everybody
but
with
I
my
find
pee
like that
pants
generation didn't care for that too. You know, they will be like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, and they will do everything, right? You will go to like a wedding, and in Venezuela people will put like 2 chairs, and you will be like 4 years old, and you will be the kid sleeping over the 2 chairs, and they will be dancing until 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, that's fine, but nobody's peeing on their pants.
So you gotta.
Well, that was a good story about peeing in the.
That was, man.
So I was gonna say, if when you travel, is there a custom? Because you travel also a lot, obviously. You know, is there something that you would like to bring that you'd be,
or even better yet, like what do you miss most about now that you're here and now that you live here and your life is here and you're making TV shows here? You've gotten a lot of parts of the dream.
Yeah.
But what do you miss most about back home that you wish was here?
Oh man, the people, like really the people, like the family. It's like because the food I made food from like that we used to eat, and it's like you can find here like some markets that this is the thing I used to enjoy a lot, but especially like the people, because I find LA it's pretty amazing, it's pretty progressive, we have the best weather, but people are very, you know, like it's hard to make friends here.
Right.
And it's like it's hard, and it's like my upbringing was like if you're in an elevator, you gotta say good day, how you doing, you gotta say good morning. So here, people just don't even love guys with you.
Yeah,
it's insane. Like for me, that was something hard to get used to it.
Yeah,
because it was like, oh my God, people don't say hello. People don't say like, hey, good morning, how you doing? Mm-hmm. So I think that is like, especially having a kid. Like I have a almost 3-year-old kid, and I don't want that. You know, I want. My neighbors, I know my neighbors. Yeah. Like I know back home, I know my neighbors. My neighbors will go and drive like 7 hours just to go to my wedding because I got married like in another state and it was very far away. And that's how like you will know more people, you will have more friends. People celebrate. Venezuela, the scarcity is really bad, right? Yeah. So let's say whenever I'm in Venezuela, because I go like at least once a year. We made a party out of everything, dude. Everything. Right. So my sister found cheese. And she's like, I got cheese at the supermarket. And then my mom was like, I have corn flours to make empanadas. Yeah. And you will come, and 20 people will come to your place.
And the party just happens.
And it's a fucking party just because of empanadas will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I miss a lot, you know. Because you're obsessed about the dream. You're obsessed about so many things, and you lose perspective about things.
People are in their heads here, and I also find that's a thing with cities, like American
big
cities, and big and like London and England too. When some of the smaller cities, people are just friendlier. Hey, how are you? Totally. And like where I'm from too, it's you say hi in the streets. Whereas, sometimes in the city here, if you say hi in the streets, some of your friends be like, hey, don't.
That's creepy. It's creepy. Don't do that.
Stop being nice to people.
Oh, my mom would say like, say good morning. I'm like, good morning. They say good morning. She will be like, if you don't say good morning, I'm, you know.
Yeah. There's a certain way. I remember in London, I had to learn because I'm not intimidated by anybody in Los Angeles or in our parts of Los Angeles. I'm not going to South Central LA that often, but generally in London, I remember having to learn in London that the medium level of when you're in more dangerous parts in London. The medium, like, don't give full eye contact, but also don't just look to the. You have to have that middle thing. I'm minding my own fucking business, and I know you're there, but you mind your own fucking business.
I think the best way to describe it is kind of like if you're like seeing somebody peeing their pants, it's kind of like you kind of like go like this. You don't look at them, but you keep walking because that guy's peeing their pants.
Or you laugh.
Yeah. And then, So you've been here just almost like 5 years now.
No,
right?
almost like 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years in the U.S. And I was gonna say, is there when you travel, is there any like sentimental things that you bring with you, or are you superstitious when you travel? Or
Not at all. My passport is the most sentimental thing because it's so hard to get a Venezuelan passport, man.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah, you gotta hold to that. Like, I will swallow my passport because it's very hard to get a passport from Venezuela. And other than that,
because
it's because of the corruption and so many things. So sometimes, like, if you lose your passport, oh my God, just to get one, it's like you got to pay a lot of money.
Oh, really?
So,
wow.
But other than that, it's like nothing. I think what's gonna happen is gonna happen no matter what. And so I don't.
So you don't like bring like something something to remember, like.
And what about now that you're doing stand up? Do you have when you're performing? Do you have like a favorite? Do you have like, because sometimes we're superstitious in those ways too. Like you got a shirt that you think you have good shows.
Yeah.
In,
are you
superstitious? And a shirt that you don't have good shows in. Are you feeling that kind of thing yet, or are you still like, I just still got to just learn the art form and who gives a shit? What
I just got to remind me of like trying to be more present than in my head, because sometimes I try when I have my set, like, because I can memorize a lot because I'm an actor. So I used to do plays, I used to do theater, and it's like I will do a play and I will remember like everything without like missing one word. It will be like something like that. So my stand up, I will be like, okay, I'll remember everything. But sometimes I forget to this is not working. I have to relax and then I have to move on. It's very hard. So for me, it's like I think I'm trying to, when I do stand up, I try to be more comfortable. So like this, because I was trying to do so hard, like to say, I want to have this look and I want to have this, and it will tense me. It will be like.
Oh, okay.
The opposite.
So if anything, I was just going to say, so it's the opposite. So you're learning to try to relax all those other things and not overthink all the other
exactly
to it.
And to connect with the audience. Like I have learned that a lot from Francisco. Is like, remember to connect. That's the most important thing. Because for me, I have a hard time, doing crowd work, especially because English is not my first language.
Right.
Like in Spanish, we can have this interview and I could be like interacting and be more spontaneous than in English.
Yeah, that's tough to do with an English audience. Just start speaking Spanish to them. Oh, what the fuck? I'm trying to connect with you right now.
Exactly. Exactly. And I hate people, man, that go to freaking comedy clubs and they're like, make me laugh. And I'm like, no, it's like, we're in the, like.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, there are people out there who sometimes they don't need a laugh, they need a cure. And I'm going to go to the comedy show to get cured for what's pissing me off.
Yeah, or they come with an attitude or something, which is, I don't understand that when people come to anything. It doesn't have to be like a comedy show, or event or something. Is like, if you don't want to be there, why are you there? You know what I mean? Like, if you're not, because I get it. Like, sometimes it's like you have to be, I think with stand up and with everything, you have to be in the mood to, like you have to be in the mood to laugh. You have to be in the mood to
you have
watch
to
a baseball game.
You have to fight and contribute yourself before the artist or whoever's performing for you gives you everything.
And there's another extreme. Like, have you been to like improv, like sketch comedy shows?
Yeah.
I hate that kind of audience because they're like, they overdo it. Like they're all the
time.
Like,
when it's
here, this is my card.
You mean
no.
when it's in their home base? Like when it's a sketch or improv, like at the school.
Like you go to Second City or Groundlings.
Yes.
And these people are like,
very supportive.
the sun is too, and people like, that was not fun.
Yeah, it's not hard to storm in front of those. They're very supportive. Everything.
They're very supportive.
Like,
so you're a genius. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah, it's gotta be a middle.
There has to be something. But I find that audience, they're trying to make their best, to make it work. That's just like,
sometimes they think they're on show too. I think.
Yeah,
sometimes
totally.
Like I'm
which is that's kind of like that audience is kind of like having like an audience that's so supportive. Is kind of like they're faking orgasms. You know what I mean? Like they're like, like, come on, that wasn't that.
That wasn't that good.
Come on, it's like a girl. It's like I haven't even touched it.
Dudes, I have one that's getting on my nerves. I have one. There's a show when I watched in the audience, see if you recognize, there was because I want natural laughter and stuff like this, but there's a TV show that has a guy who woos if it's funny and there's laughter, and I always hear like a woo. I'm like, that's not somebody who's finding things funny. He thinks that he's contributing, but to me, it just throws the whole audience off when you're hearing this woo. Nobody.
Or they're laughing too hard.
Nobody laughs like that. You're trying.
Especially like the talk shows, the audience at the talk shows. Like I used to go especially like in Venezuela, people will say like, hey, how you guys doing? So you look great. Have you lost weight? And people are like, you're like, nah. I was not.
No.
They pay you a lot to do that.
And you can't say anything. You can't even if the performers or the interviewee is there. They can't go, all right, you're not laughing naturally. Nobody goes woo. You don't do that.
Well, I think we almost hit the time too.
Oh yeah.
So you want to ask
what do we got? Well, we got our fun. We've rifled through everything.
Yeah. I mean,
it's been really fun, man. Thanks a lot. It's been very insightful, and I'm just,
now you know more about.
I do know
Venezuela.
more. South America,
more about Francisco now.
And I know that I've always had a feeling that he's a big city mouse.
Yeah.
I've always known.
And by the way, throughout this whole episode. Guillermo has peed his pants, which is a good thing to know. He was been peeing his pants the whole time,
which is part of the hilarity.
It's part of the thing.
It's awesome, because South America is the only continent I haven't been to.
Oh wow!
Well, let me ask you something.
I've been there.
Let me ask you something. Is that like? Did you find that? Have you ever thought that if you do the British accent here, you will get more work?
My British accent's very goofy and comical anyway, and I have been asked to do it.
To do it?
For some commercial auditions and stuff like that. But I do think that mastery of accents would help.
Okay.
I haven't shown up with that that skill set. I have more of a mastery of a mockery of accents because I do Scottish accents and British accents in my stand-up, but it's usually a goofy version of it, and it's made to mock the character I'm talking about or something. Okay. But I think there is a real skill set to doing I'm sure you guys must notice it, like when you speak in your Spanish accent.
No, of course. Yeah.
And you can turn it up a notch. That'll get more attention.
Of course.
Because it's impressive, like the amount of actors that they come from England and they nailed it here. And like crazy.
I think the British are great.
They're amazing. I think it's kind of like they invented the language pretty much. It's kind of like, and also it's easy to them to go like, oh, I got to do an American. Yeah, that's pretty easy.
And also, if you're ever in Britain, their accents are different every 10 miles. It's very. I always think it's just because they're so back in the day, they probably had to know who an outsider was, and as soon as they hear that slightly different dialect, they're like, he's from 10 miles down the road. And I think that's how they learn to master other accents and stuff. 100%.
No, I think so too.
We have one final question that we always ask our guests.
Okay.
Thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Had a blast.
It's been awesome, and now I know where to go in South America too.
Yeah.
But do you have any favorite piece of travel advice that you like to hand on to people if they're going? If say I was going to Venezuela, here I'll ask this to both of you guys.
Yeah.
If I was going to Venezuela, and I just came in and went, I've got a carry-on, I've booked my flight to Venezuela, what would be your guys' first piece of advice to me, other than shut the fuck up and don't beware of the snakes in the jungle.
Pretend you're mute.
Yeah.
No, I think and I think this is for mostly every country. I think it's good to know at least somebody there, or at least someone that can direct you how to so you don't show up. I'm like, hey, I'm like a tourist.
I will say this is a cliche, but it's true. If you go to Venezuela, don't bring your girlfriend, don't bring your wife. Venezuela has the most beautiful women in the entire planet. It's insane.
Right.
They're very nice. They're very nice people. And
I'm booking my flight now, actually. That's all right. This is, maybe I didn't even know I was going to go to Venezuela next week.
Just always looking for love.
But yeah, totally, man. And it's, let's say if you go there, just like you're going to learn how to dance salsa. It's going to be, but also you got to, it's a wonderful country, and I think like when you go to travel, I have like 3 rules really, like get like intoxicated because you eat something random at the streets. Like I go to Argentina or whatever place, I'm like I'm gonna eat like a crazy thing that I never eat in my life.
Yeah.
And then get lost. You gotta get lost.
Right. Have the adventure.
Yes, have the adventure.
Right.
That's
okay. Well, this brings me to question B, or an addendum to it. Like, what if? Because I don't know any Spanish. I've lived in LA for 5 years now, and I can barely ask for tacos correctly. But if you can only speak English. Can you holiday in Venezuela, or would it help if I learned a few
places
words?
that you? I mean, most people speak.
You can go to
English.
the fancy places. You know, let's say Los Roques, which is like it's an amazing place. Like they have like a bunch of islands, and it's beautiful. And there's like where rich people go. Like it's like Cancun, like Tulum to Mexicans. Not every Mexican has been in Tulum, you know.
Right.
So Venezuela, we have that. We have the Amazonas. So people will speak English. We like most of the people that I know in my hometown, they speak English. Like
right.
And I think now
'Cause
there's
I've
more
holidayed-
people that speak English.
Oh
now.
yeah, totally.
And I've worked in Spain, and I've been to Spain a lot, but I never felt there's lots of expats there. There's lots of British influence. There's lots of French influence. There's lots of.
Let me ask you this question: why is it that you call yourself? Aren't you just an immigrant?
Am I an immigrant? Yeah.
Like an expat. What's the difference between an expat and an immigrant? Isn't it the same thing?
Well, I think expats are of Her Majesty's. I would have to look up.
But if
what
you
it's
live in a
short
different
for,
country,
so-
you're an immigrant, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're an
Yeah.
immigrant.
Yes, I'm an immigrant.
So
yeah.
we're just 3 immigrants.
No,
that we
because
just-
a lot of like
When they say expat,
especially like
Yeah, I think it's a
like
British
Americans that live in Mexico
English
is
term.
like, I'm an expat. I'm like, you're an immigrant, right? Wouldn't
Right.
that be the same case? You just live in Mexico now, so like it's kind of like what they call Mexicans here, immigrants.
yeah, I guess
well-
we'd have to look. I guess I'd have to look it up. But yeah,
Like, why is it
they're
that-
very similar?
But I think it's like, I just think it's like that's the name, so they don't feel like immigrants.
Oh,
You know, I feel like that's the name. It's like,
Right,
oh, I'm better than an immigrant. It's like, no, you're still an immigrant if you're not from that country, living in that country, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
But I like being an immigrant. I love being an immigrant.
No, but I'm just saying the name that they use.
Yeah.
Because like Americans, when they live in Mexico, they call themselves expats. And I'm like,
But it's weird.
aren't you still an immigrant? Like a Mexican or somebody else that lives here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't use the term expat here, though.
I
Actually,
know.
I only used it in Europe.
Oh,
now
so
that
you
you're
use it
mentioning
for other
so-
people. That's
So
interesting.
yeah. Here, I'm an immigrant. So it's interesting. Might have to figure this out. Why it's why the
Yeah, what's the difference, or why is it people call themselves that? Is it because to make themselves feel better, or is there an actual difference?
yeah exactly. Are you still trying to make it somewhere when you're an immigrant? But when you're an expat, are you just done and visiting? I'm just
That could be a thing. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I'm like, I don't want to, That's
well,
true.
if we were at the start of our podcast,
That would've
we'd
been
look
good.
it up right now, but we're not. So for those of you guys can fucking Google at home, but we're wrapping this puppy up.
Where do people can, you're in Mayans M.C. right now,
Yeah,
but
you can
where do
watch
people can find you on social media if you want to tell them, or like?
Oh yeah, you can watch Mayans MC and on FX on Hulu, and I just started TikTok.
Oh, what's your handle?
At El Guillermo Garcia.
That's for everything.
At El Guillermo Garcia Twitter and at El Guillermo Garcia Instagram. Yeah, it's Twitter I do most, but it's like and TikTok I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, well, it only takes one of your TikToks, and then you'll be like, I get it now.
Yeah. Oh, it went viral. I'll get it now. Yeah. This is what I mean.
Boom.
Well, thank you for coming. Muchas gracias por venir. We
man.
appreciate it, and hopefully we'll have you back soon.
Yeah, thanks, bud. That was fantastic.
Appreciate
Bye,
it.
Alu.
Thanks.
Cheers.